What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. Today we are going to cover how to master your metabolism. This is our first whiteboard YouTube video that we've done together. We're super excited about it. Not sure how the lighting's working out in here, but we're making it work. So without any further ado, we're just gonna jump right in. We're gonna give you guys the top 5 simple steps that you need if you want to master your metabolism and ultimately get it in a really good spot.
First things first, you are not stuck with a broken metabolism. If your parents told you that you are always gonna have a slow metabolism because they do, don't fall for it. To master your metabolism, number 1, build muscle, right? So the more muscle that we have on our frame, the higher our metabolic rate is going to be. Muscle just demands a lot more calories to be able to sustain. So you're gonna burn more calories at rest. Your BMR is going to increase, right? Focus on building muscle over cardio. When you're doing cardio, you're only burning calories while you're on the treadmill, while you're doing the actual cardio itself. This is so extremely important.
Yeah, so if you're somebody who is, maybe you're trying a bunch of different diets right now, or you're doing things and you're not weight training, you're putting yourself in a disadvantage, right? When we're not lifting weights, we're not actively trying to build muscle. Like Audrey mentioned, you're just opting out to not want to improve your metabolism, right? So we can do things from a nutrition side, but if we're not actually training and putting the body under stress and trying to grow it, we're going to struggle to boost our metabolism just by having more muscle tissue on our frame. So you're gonna want to build muscle and start weight training, especially if you're not. Next, let's hop into number 2 here. Number 2 is protein, right? So we're gonna wanna get an ample amount of protein in per day. So if you have no idea, you're like, okay, protein, how much should I be eating? What should that look like? Roughly, we're gonna wanna have 1 gram per pound we weigh. Now, if you're somebody who's maybe 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds overweight, take what your goal weight typically would be, or where you think that would be, and then eat that many grams of protein per day.
Protein is not very efficient for our body to turn into energy, right? So carbs and fats, a little bit easier for our body to take and then put that to use. Or if we don't put it to use, it's stored as body fat. Protein actually takes more calories to break down and use as energy than carbs and fats do. Little fun fact about protein. It's called the thermic effect of food, if you're interested as well.
Ooh. Number 3.
This is a big one, guys. Number 3, do not diet forever. This is a huge one. The more that you continue to diet and the longer that you continue to diet, the slower your metabolism is going to be. It's unfortunate. We can't necessarily avoid our metabolism adapting to the lower calories, but essentially the less calories you eat and for an extended period of time, our metabolism is adaptive. It's ever changing. So it's going to adapt to the low calories in order to conserve more energy.
So we always want to approach our dieting phases as in cycles, right? So if we are dieting, we don't want to do it, or in a fat loss cycle, we don't want to do it for longer than 4 to about 6 months at a time. Any longer past that, we're putting our metabolism at a disadvantage. We're going to start down-regulating it. When our metabolism starts to down-regulate, so does hormone production, so do other things within the body start to potentially take a hit, your sleep. If you're a female, your cycle could become irregular. You could lose your period, right? So just paying attention to that, because for seasons where we will diet, we need time away from dieting, right? So just like an athlete, right? If they are in season in a sport, they have an off season of the sport, right? Because they just can't play year round. They'll wear themselves down, injuries will come up, right? So just making sure you're approaching your fat loss cycles in the same way. We're dieting for periods of time, 4 to 6 months, and they're taking time away from dieting.
Number 4, increase your NEAT. Now, NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Essentially, it means all of the activity, all of the movement that you are doing outside of your intentional exercise, meaning walking your dog, cleaning, fidgeting. Mason, if you know Mason, he is always fidgeting. He's always bobbing his knees like this.
I saw a lot of my fidgeting on this YouTube video.
He stands while he eats. I do now too. He will bob his knees while he's standing and watching TV. His metabolism, he is burning so many calories outside of his intentional exercise. People who just tend to fidget a little bit more have a faster metabolism. Even though it doesn't seem like it's substantial, and it's really not a substantial amount of calories, it adds up over time. So what happens when we start to diet and our body is trying to conserve energy to keep us alive and to keep us going, our NEAT is one of the first things that takes a hit. You tend to fidget less, you tend to move less. You know, if you're somebody who has been dieting for a while, you might notice like standing feels like a lot of energy, so you're leaning on things more, you're not fidgeting as much. So just becoming aware of how much activity you you are doing outside of your intentional exercise makes a world of difference.
Last one here is Audrey's gonna write this one in. Reverse, and we're not playing Uno here, so we're not talking about the Uno card. This is reverse dieting. The most important piece out of probably all this up here as well. I mean, all of it's very important, but this one most importantly too, because a lot of people, I guarantee you, if you're someone watching this video, you maybe had a dieting attempt in the past, right? Maybe you tried to lose 5, 10, 15, 20, and maybe you got that weight off, right? But what potentially happened on the backside of that? Maybe half the weight came back on, maybe all of it came on and more, right? Is because we more than likely did not reverse diet out of our dieting phase, right? And that has a very harmful effect on the metabolism, because when we're dieting, the metabolism downregulates. And then if we don't slowly work ourselves out of that dieting phase and reverse diet, that's where the weight can come back on, and that's where we can run into issues. So this is an extremely, extremely important piece to make sure we have this down and we do reverse diet at all times out of our dieting phases. Or if you're somebody who has been dieting for years and years and years, and you're struggling to get the weight off and nothing's working and you feel lost, helpless, frustrated, reverse dieting is going to be your answer here to get your body back into that responsive state. So when you do try to attempt fat loss, you're in a good position.
The beauty about reverse dieting is that you are, if you do it correctly, you're able to keep body fat off as best as possible while getting your maintenance calories or your metabolism back up into a good standing. Naturally, what happens when we start to slowly increase our calories over time is our NEAT tends to come up, because we just have more energy to put to use. Our body will burn that extra energy. Obviously, we are not dieting forever because we're taking the reverse diet approach. We tend to eat a little bit more protein, and we also, because we're feeding our body with more fuel, we're able to build more muscle. So in turn, this is all going to speed up your metabolism.
So we appreciate you guys for tuning into this episode of our whiteboard talk. We're probably gonna have more of these in the future, because I think we figured out the lighting here in our office. So we'll be covering various different topics, similar to potentially this one, covering fat loss, nutrition, hormones, all that good stuff. So we appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Bye, guys.